Welcome back to Gaming Night. I'm your host, G.A.M.E.R here, and today we need to talk about the Game Awards 2023 because it did just happen a couple days ago, and I've now had a few days to thoroughly process it, really let it soak in, and let me grab my thoughts on everything about it. And I have to say, off the bat, I did really enjoy the show. I thought it was a really solid show, but there are a lot of issues with it that we do need to talk about, and it has nothing to really do with the actual game announcements. It was very, very strong showing for trailers and reveals, and if you haven't watched my last video, the first Game Awards video that I posted, I basically did a recap on all the notable games that I'm interested in, and we went over release dates, studios, a little bit of some details about the games, but overall just did a huge recap on the show. But this video, I'm going to be giving you my actual thoughts on the show, let me just say, I love the Game Awards as an event. I think the event itself is really fun. The awards are always meh to me. I don't really care, but they are fun, but not very important to me, if you know what I mean. Like, overall, my favorite game of the year is Alan Wake 2, but it winning any awards doesn't really mean anything. It did win 3 awards, which is cool, but all those other games also deserved it. So to me, the awards are just whatever. But I could see where it is fun to a certain degree for sure. And then there's always live music performances at the shows, which are usually pretty great. But of course, I feel like what most people go there for, and pretty much the general consensus, is that trailers, announcements, and reveals, and the games that are actually shown there are always the best part, and that's really the main reason majority of people watch. Now, I will say, I don't want to be a little disrespectful, because a big part of the show is developers, and them getting the spotlight, them getting the recognition they deserve for games that they've spent years working for is absolutely correct. Me not really enjoying the awards aspect is not taking anything away from that. I think the developers, hearing their speeches, seeing the performers, the actors, just have a great time there is always just absolutely wonderful. That's the best part of the awards for me, is getting to see all the studios and letting them get the awards. But I don't really care what game wins, as long as it's not like a stupid decision. Like, if Destiny 2 won community support, I would care because that is terrible. But like any of those 6 Game of the Year games, if it would have won, I would have been just as happy. But yeah, developers definitely needed time to shine, and I feel like this year was a clear indication of everything I just said. And because, like I just said, I think this is one of the best shows in terms of trailers and game announcements, because when I look at the quantity of games that I'm interested in, there is so many. I do believe I have like 35 on that video that I made probably yesterday at the time of recording. I don't know. At the time you're watching this, it was probably yesterday, but I'm recording these on the same day. But yeah, this is one of the best years for trailers. Like, it really was. There were just so many great reveals, so many great looking games, so many surprises, so many ones that were expected, that I do enjoy. And yeah, I really do just think it was a really fun show. However, on the flip side, I think this is the worst year for awards, and not the fact that the winners were awful, not the fact that the nominations were awful. No, I think the way they handled awards this year is the worst they've done it ever. Game of the Year winner should not be rushed off the stage in 30 seconds when Kojima gets 10 minutes. Now, I get it. I consider Kojima the GOAT, okay? Kojima is the GOAT of video game creators, directors, in my opinion. That's just how it is. Him getting 10 minutes is awesome, but if he's gonna get 10 minutes, so should the Game of the Year winner, okay? I'm sorry, music should not be playing 20 seconds into their speech. They shouldn't be having a teleprompter telling them to please wrap it up, once they just start talking. It's just not cool, man. It really is not cool. Like I just said, these developers work so hard for these games. It's their dream, it's their passion, and just for that one moment, that literally once in a lifetime moment, to be rushed off stage in 30 seconds is it's almost disrespectful in a way. And I to the Game Awards defense, last year last year, Christopher Judge did take like an 8-minute speech, which was kind of a little bit much, but that did not warrant them to make it 30 seconds long. You can cut that in half, 4 minutes tops maybe, but it was really just quite disappointing. Like when you take the 3-hour show, I do believe there was a statistic that came out, 3-hour show, only 30 minutes of that was actually dedicated to the awards, and the show is called the G.A.M.E.R Awards. So, while I don't care about the awards, don't make it a laughable joke, like to the point where it has now become, because now we got a lot of people upset, and I just think it's ridiculous from the very beginning, but it is what it is. Sorry, my camera just froze there. I like stopped talking because I was like, am I gonna have to do something? But no, we're good. But yeah, and especially for this event, it's a celebration of games, and guess what? People make the games. If this is a celebration of gaming, one of the biggest parts of gaming are the people that make it, and it should be a celebration of them. They are the core of it. Yeah, so bottom line, devs did not get enough time to shine. Studios did not get enough recognition, that type of thing. And at the same time, so many awards were just blown over. Like, Best Indie Game was just, like, said and done in, like, 20 seconds. They were like, here are the nominees, blah, 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 and the winner is blah, moving on. Best Independent Game. Are you serious? That is so important. It's so important. It's one of the biggest categories. Like, yeah, I just really could not get on board with the awards at all this year. Truthfully, the best one, I don't even know, dude. Like, I couldn't even tell you that, like, the one that they did the best. I think the best one was on accident, and I think it was actually the worst award in terms of, like, the actual winner. Now, I'm not saying he did bad, but I would have given it to someone else easy, and that's best performance. Neil Newman won. I think all of the other 5 options are better. Personally, that's just me. I would have went with any of the other 5 options. Neil Newman is still great. He still does a phenomenal job, but I think all the other ones are just elite. But he did have a really nice speech, and it's kind of funny, like, the music kicked in right as he was starting to go into, like, an emotional part of the speech, and it kind of just, like, helped it, and it kind of made it hit even harder, and so that was probably the best one, but even then, I was like, yeah, that, like, he wanted to say more. You could just tell he did, but oh well. You get what you get, I guess, and people definitely throw a fit. But anyway, yeah, so many awards were just blown over, and, it was just annoying. But, and even then, you had so many issues that preceded the event, like, Dave the Diver being nominated for Best Indie Game, a coach being nominated that didn't even coach, stuff like that. It's just Destiny 2 being community support. It's abysmal. It's whatever. And then, of course, there's so many people that have complaints about the show, with things like the length of the show, which personally, I don't mind it. Personally, I like it when it's longer, because that just means there's more content. Now, I get it. Some of it could drag on. There could be a lot of filler, but personally, it's once a year. It is what it is. It's a fun show. I don't really care how long. Now, I'm not asking for it to be like 5 hours long, but like if you want to go to 3 to 4 hours, I'm okay with it. Personally, that's just me. But at the same time, shorter is also great. So, whatever floats your boat. But anyway, and then another complaint that a lot of people had this year, which I personally don't. I can get the argument, but I think a lot of the reasons were kind of valid this year, except for one of them, and that is people hate the fact that celebrities show up to this event, which I can understand their point, but a lot of the arguments don't exactly, I don't agree with, per se. Now, Timothée Chalamet presenting Game of the Year, that one is the biggest no-no for me, because he hasn't been in a game. He doesn't really have any relations to game, except like he had a gamer tag that he was presented as, and it was just kind of cringe, but I don't feel like he should be presenting Game of the Year. He could present another award. I think that's more acceptable, but it almost just makes it feel like they're trying to force mainstream Hollywood into gaming. That's just not what we're built on. That's just not what we've relied on forever. And I don't know. It almost just makes it seem like we're not good enough to a certain way, which I get that, but at the same time, I don't mind a lot of the other ones, like Matthew McConaughey coming out to announce a game that he's actually acting in for his first time in his career. That is fine. He's a big name. It's cool to see him. He's a great guy. He's showing us a video game. I don't understand the complaints about that one personally. And then of course you have Anthony Mackie. He was literally the star of a video game adaptation. People complain about that. I don't really understand that. All those, look, I'm not too picky on. And then Al Pacino showing up last year. Some people have complaints about that. Bro, it's Al Pacino. Who cares? He's awesome, dude. Like, he's Al Pacino. Like, let him have some fun, you know? I personally liked seeing him in person. I was at the Game Awards last year in person, and it was really awesome to see him there. So, I get it. They have nothing to do with gaming, truly. But, like, sometimes they do, and it's always just kind of fun to me. This year, the music performances were, again, very great, very good. I think the best one for me was definitely Alan Wake 2, Herald of Darkness. That was just, dude, it's awesome. Dude, I love the whole dance and everything to it. It's just awesome, man. But then, like I've said multiple times now, the trailers were just phenomenal. There were so many great games, and yeah, they really just went crazy. Now, speaking of the trailers, you know, this is Celebration Games. I really loved it. We're going to talk about the fun stuff now. Like I just said, trailers were phenomenal. And part of the reason I think this year's announcements and reveals were so great is that every company showed up except Nintendo. But we're even going to get to that. I have a video planned for that as well about a whole Nintendo thing and why this is actually kind of huge for them. But yeah, every company showed up except Nintendo, honestly. Like I said, video on that soon. But like Xbox showed up and they went crazy. They showed Hellblade 2, they showed OD, they showed Blade, which is insane. They finally announced Baldur's Gate 3 coming to Xbox. Xbox showed up big. They delivered. Awesome. Sega went crazy as well. Sega, like I'm so blown away by this Sega, man. Dude, they have my full heart right now. Sega is just awesome. Another one that really surprised me, Square Enix. You know, I've been kind of not super hot on Square Enix as of recently, just because Final Fantasy kind of carries them, and they have so many misses, and I just haven't been super hot on them, but I can't deny they make great games occasionally. But they had 3 things that, you know, I thoroughly enjoyed. Of course, FF7 Rebirth. And then, of course, FF16 with 2 DLCs announcements. One shadow dropping the night of, which was really cool. Which I just said, yeah, Final Fantasy carries. But then they announced one other one, bringing back an old franchise that... I said it in the last video where I did a recap. I think it's top 3 announcements for me out of the whole show. And that's Visions of Mana. I'm just in love with that trailer. That trailer is awesome. The gameplay, the art style, the music, the character designs, I'm in love with it. I'm so in love with it. It's easily one of my most anticipated games now. It's just one of those games for me. I don't know. It's just one of those games where I wouldn't expect to like it, but I see it and something just clicked with me, and now I'm like so into it. And yeah, Square Enix really surprised me. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Capcom showed up, even though it was kind of last minute. They did show up. They were pretty much the show closer to a certain degree. With, of course, Monster Hunter Wild. Sorry, I'm moving all over the place, trying to get comfortable here. EA had a new game, of course, bringing another EA Originals, which I'm a huge fan of. These are EA Original games, with the Tales of Tales of Kenzera Zao, which was a whole wholesome moment with the AC Origins voice actor started up a new studio in honor of his father, and you know, the whole meaning behind the game. It was a great moment. Multiple new IPs and indies showed up. I mean, you know, new IPs were awesome during this game. I mean, you got Exodus, you got Light No Fire, Windblown, Usual June, Exoborn, You can even throw in like the Tales of Kenzara Zhao that we just talked about. Black Myth Wukong showed up again. Rise of the Ronin. No Rest for the Wicked by Moon Studio. Yeah, a lot of great new IPs. 100%. And then of course indies, kind of like the same boat. There was a lot of indie games there as well. And then Ubisoft, they had a couple things there. They did a new story trailer for Prince of Persia, gave us a demo, gave us a release date for Skull and Bones. Yeah, and then PlayStation also had a few announcements. Of course, with the big one being God of War Ragnarok Valhalla DLC, which is, can't wait to play that. And then they also showed Rise of the Ronin. That's technically a second-party game. It is an exclusive to them. So, you know, there's that. They did show an update on Helldivers 2. I'm really still not quite sold in that game, but it is there. And then there were a lot of unexpected surprises, like Jurassic Park Survival is the big one for me. I did not expect it at all. I mean, if we want to go to OD, I did not expect OD to be here. You know, and then, of course, the whole Sega thing, that was a huge surprise. Of course, I mean, there's things like Black Myth Wukong showing up once again, getting a release date. And then another big surprise was the fact that Valhalla DLC was free and it was coming out next week. There was a lot of shadow drops. Rise of the Ronin is getting a release date like in 3 months. It comes out in 3 months. Like, that's crazy. And then on the topic of that, shadow drops. I mean, Baldur's Gate shadow drop the day of. But like we were just saying, God of War, Final Fantasy 16 DLC, a lot of shadow drops, man. The game of The Finals, which is that first-person shooter, got shadow dropped then. Yeah, really cool. And then one thing I really liked about this game, Game Awards, which I also is a criticism I have. It's weird because we got a lot, but then we also got a lot that we didn't. Release dates. Release dates. We got a lot of games with actual release dates, like Black Myth Wukong, Rise of the Ronin. Can't think of anything right now. Tales of Kenzara Zhao. But then we did get a lot of release windows is the problem. Or not problem, sometimes good, like Hellblade 2024, we should have gotten an official release date, but we did get the 2024 window. Then we got a lot of 2025, so we can really expect that. But then there were a lot of games that didn't get anything in terms of release dates. So, I don't know, there were a lot of games that did get release dates. But, you know, I do wish we kind of got a little bit more in terms of the release schedules of all these things. But, hey, I'll take what we got for sure. But overall, man, I really do think that this was a great event. Outside of the awards, outside of the whole awards thing, they need to rework that whole thing. Personally, they need to rework the whole award system. It's just not going to cut it for many more years. I feel like there's too much controversy, too much drama about it now, and now we got developers getting mad. Although one thing I will say, hey, this is funny. Personally, as somebody who kind of agrees with the statement, Christopher Judge saying that his speech was longer than this year's Call of Duty campaign, bro, that is a legendary moment. I don't care what anyone says. I get it. It is kind of disrespectful, but at the same time, they should have made a longer campaign. But then at the same time, yeah, I don't know. It was just a great moment, man. It really was. But overall, I left the show very, very happy, very satisfied, and excited for a lot of games. So, yeah. With that being said, that's going to do it for my video. Those are my thoughts on the Game Awards as a whole. Have way more videos coming out about the Game Awards soon throughout this entire week. This is Game Awards week, baby. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. G.A.M.E.R out. Peace.